Welcome to Hannah's Heart.
So Hannah, she's just one of the women who did struggle with infertility in the Bible.
No matter who we are, we can be inspired by the fact that Hannah took her pain to God, and God heard her and was with her.
So when she was praying at the temple, she had been weeping and not eating, and her lips were moving, but her eyes were closed, and the priest was like, "Hey, why are you drunk at the temple?"
It can become an obsession when you want a child so deeply.
And desiring that baby and to be a mama. Every holiday, every Mother's Day.
This is not a show that's going to promise you a certain outcome, but this is a show that says, however God answers your cry, we know that He's enough.
Hey, I'm Ann.
And I'm Kendra, and you're listening to Hannah's Heart on American Family Radio. Hey, if you are new to the show, welcome. We love to invite folks to just walk along life with us. We started as a show for couples struggling with infertility or miscarriage because that was our journey, and it felt very isolating. Yeah. And then we found each other and started finding there's a lot of other people that have had to endure these things. The show has gone on to talk about all sorts of ways that maybe your life looks a little different than what you initially pictured it. We talk about child loss, and you experienced that. Mm-hmm. We talk about adoption. You've walked through that. We talk about fostering. You've done that.
Check.
You check out. You have a lot of boxes. I talk about fertility treatments and having to pray through all of those decisions. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to know, if you're listening right now, wherever you are in your journey, God is enough. And every week, we get encouraged because we have people on the show and we talk about hard things, but it always ends with Christ is enough. Yeah. He's your rock. He is going to help you through any trial. And we try to just be a place where you can feel comfortable, to be you, to say, ouch, this really hurts, but you're seen, but also just let you know you're not alone and God is with you.
That's right.
Blah, blah, blah. Our spiel gets longer and longer every time.
I know, because we keep covering more and more topics.
That's
but we do want y'all to know that you can always reach out to us at hannahsheart@afa.net. That's where we have gotten lots of prayer requests.
We love them.
Show suggestions, and then my favorites are when people send us baby pictures and let us know.
The miracle babies are the best.
Yes, and we've had a lot, really. Yeah. I mean, to me, a lot. Yeah. But that's always so encouraging to see, and we just want to rejoice and praise the Lord with you for those answered prayers.
Amen.
Today, we have a sweet couple on the show that I would consider family, friends, all in the same thing right there, because we have walked through child loss with them, I would say. Their sweet baby boy met the Lord 5 days before John Micah. Wow. And so they reached out to us, and ever since it's just felt like they were family, and we looked to them for advice and, hey, how are y'all? And they did the same back. And that is Bethany and Will Whitfield. Wow. You guys, we have y'all on the phone. Is everything working well?
Yes, so far.
So far, I think we're all right.
Good deal. We had some technical difficulties the first go-round, so I'm thankful that everything's good right now. You guys, we have talked about having y'all on the program literally for a year now, I think, and so I'm excited for y'all to be on the program today.
No, we're so excited to be here. Oh, my goodness. We love telling Benny's story.
That's right. That's what we are here for today, is to get to talk about baby Benny and to hear all the details about his sweet life, and to hear how you guys are still honoring his life and how we're not going to let his sweet life ever fade away, because we want him to be remembered. And so I hope that this show ends up allowing y'all healing through this, but also just a way of, okay, I get to talk about my baby the whole time. So we're glad that y'all are here, and y'all just get started. Tell us about pregnancy and how y'all found out about Benny.
Okay, well, I guess I can start. We have 2 kiddos already. William is 5 and Hattie is 4. They were 2 and 3 at the time. So Benjamin was our 3rd baby, and was a little unexpected, but also I'm
A little
really surprised.
Will says very unexpected.
We were thinking about a third, but we weren't quite
Yeah.
sure when. But the Lord's plan is always better.
That's
So,
Hmm.
so yeah, we found out in I think either late November, early December that we were pregnant with Benjamin. And then we found out really early on, around 14 weeks, that he was a boy. And so we were really excited to add another boy to the family. When I went to have my anatomy scan at 19 weeks, I work at a hospital. I'm a labor and delivery nurse. And so I was able to get my anatomy scan done at the hospital that I work at with some of the ultrasound techs that I was friends with just from having worked with them on the L&D unit. And looking back now, I'm just so thankful that I was with people that I knew, because we found out at that anatomy scan that there were just some concerning signs. They had found that he had a cleft lip. They thought that his umbilical cord only had 2 vessels in it, along with what they call a couple other soft markers for just genetic or chromosomal abnormalities. And so that was really scary. I called Will from the room as I'm talking with the ultrasound tech and the radiologist who gave us the news. And initially we were just thinking that, okay, we're going to have a child with probably some intellectual disabilities, and that was not our plan, but we still love this baby. And you know what? It's not changing the outcome at all. I mean, he's still going to be ours, and we're going to raise him and love him, and God's going to see us through.
Yeah.
But in order to confirm those abnormalities on ultrasound, they recommended that we do some genetic testing, which I had not previously done because, again, we believe in the sanctity of human life, and any kind of disability is going to be not going to change the outcome of the pregnancy.
Right.
We're going to preserve that life for as long as we can. And so we had some blood drawn, and I think it took a couple weeks to come back. I want to say it was a little over a week. I actually had some friends from Ohio visiting me that week. And again, that was just a blessing from the Lord that they were there. We happened to be out getting pedicures with me and the 2 friends when I got the lab results back on my phone, that it was positive for trisomy 13. And even though I'm a nurse, couldn't remember off the top of my head what trisomy 13 meant. And so I'm just thinking, okay, it's just got to be something similar like Down syndrome. We can handle that. We can do that. It'll have its challenges, but that's okay. So I'm sitting in the nail salon, and I Googled it. It just said the average lifespan is 2 days.
Wow.
Which was like not even on my radar.
Wow.
That my baby might not survive.
Wow.
And so, again, thankful, like a horrible place to find out news like that. But, but super thankful for my friends, because I, of course, immediately burst into tears and had to run out of the salon. So they took care of it. I immediately called Will, who was on a golf outing for trip down or for work.
I'll tell my side of the story. You get through yours.
Called him, told him he needed to come home.
Wow.
Called my mom, and then had to go pick the kids up from daycare, which was terrible because my friends couldn't sign them out, so I had to go in and pretend like everything was okay after. But by the time I got home, Will was getting home, and those friends were there to just take the kids who were 2 and 3 and had no idea what was going on. And they just took them and played, and they kept them occupied so that Will and I could cry and grieve and process together. So, again, just even from the beginning, the Lord provided for us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, and that is just something. There's no good way to lose a baby and to find out news like that. But when you have other kiddos at home that you still have to take care of, it's almost like you that grief kind of gets taken away from you a little bit, because it's like, well, I've got to be
mhm.
strong for them. I don't need, that is such a God thing for those friends to be there, for y'all to have that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Will, what was that like to get that kind of phone call?
Well, let me start from the beginning,
Okay.
from kind of my perspective of it, because mine, I'm looking back on it now. I was kind of in denial for a little while, but
Mm.
thankfully the Lord was gracious to me in that. I remember specifically at the time Bethany was still working, her 12 hour shifts at the hospital. I had picked up the kids from daycare, and any of you any of you dads out there that have to watch your kids by yourselves, just know you have my sympathy.
Solidarity.
I was about half crazy by the time they go there. Yeah, 100%. And look, they were just kids being kids. And I remember Bethany walking in, and she being just like, "Man, I just don't feel good." And it's always kind of a running joke where, "Hey, are you pregnant? You must be pregnant." And it's always, ha ha, yeah, funny. And then Bethany sneaks off to a bathroom, and she comes back and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not pregnant." And so we'll go. She came home and she was like, "Oh man, I just don't feel good." And then she came out. She went to the bathroom and came back out, and immediately, she was sobbing, and I was like, "Oh, man, she's pregnant, 100%. There it is." And so we, of course, I was. She's sobbing and she's happy, but man, I got it. I was ecstatic. I was
Mhm.
so stinking excited. I was like, absolutely, like, I am ready for this. Like, this is, I'm stoked. This is awesome. I'm so ready to do this. And we kind of continued to live in that little.
Mm.
In that excitement, or I did at least. Bethany faked it. If anything, she did it well.
Say that.
Well,
I'm the practical
you were very,
one, though, so I'm
very,
thinking
very, very
oh my
excited,
God,
but you were also very sleepy, which I get.
Yes, all the things.
Well, I don't get, but I love you all the same. It's wonderful. Listen, I'm gonna brag on her extensively here in a little bit. So. But yeah, so we lived in that just excitement. Of course there was a lot of uncertainty there. There was a lot of, oh my goodness, like daycare is expensive. It costs more than our house, and how are we going to afford to put a third one in there? And the whole entire time you're like, the Lord's going to provide. Whether you tell yourself that and believe it, or whether you just tell yourself that because it's comforting or because it's just your peace.
Yeah.
We really believe that. And again, Bethany went to the doctor and got her anatomy scan. We found out early that it was a little boy. And, that's one of the favorite things that we would do. I mean, even from the time that we got married, we'd sit on the couch and we would just talk about baby names, like, oh, well, hey, this is a cute name. This is a fun name. And we had both, we really liked the name Benjamin, and Benjamin, I liked it a lot, but it was, I just wanted a kid named Benjamin for whatever reason. The Lord had given me William, and He'd given me my Hattie girl, and Benjamin just seemed to fit right on in.
Yeah.
And so we got the news that, hey, there's a few markers that we need to investigate further. And, of course, being the stoic man, I was like, oh, well, everything's going to be fine. Like, it's just an anomaly. Like, we don't need to worry about that, blah, 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 all that other kind of stuff. But y'all, let me tell you something. My wife, I don't know if I don't think she mentioned this, but I mean, she is a labor and delivery nurse by trade. So these are all things that she knows. Like I'm just happy, blissfully ignorant to a lot of this stuff, just trying to be encouraging and all this kind of stuff. But my wife knows, she knows all about, maybe not in every detail, but she knows enough to know that, hey, this isn't just some
Right.
something, and I can't describe it as anything other than, man, that was in that moment, you really feel the Lord moving, but you feel him moving just out of a sense of helplessness. There is nothing you can do at this point in time. Like, you are completely at the mercy of whatever the Lord's going to throw at you. Like, it's coming this way.
Yeah.
And so we put a brave face on for however many weeks it was. I can't remember. It was a couple of weeks, but yeah. And as Bethany said earlier, I was at a work function. I was at TPC Louisiana, and I was on hole number 11, and I was with my boss at the time, and I remember Bethany calling me. I mean, she was sobbing on the other line. Like, I couldn't understand her at first, and I finally kind of on to, hey, this is, we got test results back. It's not good. You need to come home now.
Wow.
And I didn't quite break down there, but my boss, who I'm good friends with, he looked at me and immediately he was like, I saw your knees buckle right there. He immediately walked over and he just kind of bear hug, and he was like, all right, well, what do we need to do? And so I got home, and man, guys, ladies and guys, I can't tell you just the grief and the comfort. And it's a weird relationship, but just the grief and the comfort of pulling in the driveway and seeing my wife, like knowing what she's about to tell me, because I know it's not good. My wife's she's not a good liar, and she's not good at holding those things in, and just knowing what is coming our way, knowing what is coming my way. The only person that I wanted to be with was my wife at that point in time. Again, for her friends to be here at that point in time, I mean, legitimately, it was such a godsend, because, and the kids at the time were just happy-go-lucky. They were 2 and 3 years old. They just wanted to go swing. They wanted to play outside, and we had people here to take care of that for them. For Bethany and I to really, I mean, we went upstairs to our bedroom, and we were able to process and call her mom, call my mom. We were able to just sit down and pray together. My goodness, the amount of people that prayed for us in that moment was incredible. And again, it was a sense of, God, we don't know what you're doing. We don't know what you're doing. We don't feel like victims. We don't feel like we're being attacked, but God, we trust you. Like, we know what you've got for us is good here. And again, because, we do believe in the sanctity of life, and because just how much we already loved Benny. I mean, and he was 19 weeks old, and we adored him already. I mean, there was we were going to give him his best shot at anything we could as far as life goes.
Right. Yeah.
And so, gosh, babe, I don't know, how long was it? We sat on the bed and wept for 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And it was just a genuine brokenness of us crying out to God, being like, God, we don't know why. Like, right now, we don't want to know why. We just hurt. We're hurting. We don't know how to not hurt. And, again, as time goes on, as just because how gracious God is, it's easy to feel like God is so distant in the hurt, but you just can't. In that moment, God whispered, and God, the Holy Spirit whispered to both of us, being like, look, I'm not apart or away from the hurt. I'm right here with you in the hurt, and here we are. Like, bring it to me, and we can deal with this together. Like, give it to me. And look, and we wept. We wept, we mourned, we grieved, and that was just the beginning.
Yeah.
Bethany had still, what was that, 4, 8, 12? She still had 4 or 5 more months to carry Benny.
Yeah.
And knowing good well that, every flutter, every kick, every whatever, every little reaction that Benny had in her belly was the most sign of life and was the most alive he was ever going to be.
Wow.
On this side of heaven.
That's right.
So let's talk
And
about that time. How do you endure
Yeah.
that? Like, what is that? So you're essentially bracing for impact, but yet you still have been given this gift of life. Like, tell me how you all endured that time.
That was very hard, and I think that was what felt the most daunting about everything. Was I was barely halfway through my pregnancy, and then also working full time as a labor and delivery nurse, where other people are having healthy babies and bringing them home.
Wow.
And then you also have just the innocent questions of strangers. Oh, you're expecting, and what number baby is this, and is it a boy or a girl, and when are you due? And those questions became so painful for me, especially like trying to interact with my patients, having to answer those questions and keep a brave face.
Yeah, I remember her coming home. She came home broken several times. Just, I had to. Yeah, maybe I'm sorry. Continue, babe.
So yeah, it was just that was incredibly difficult. You have patients who are experiencing the happiest moments of their lives while you're anticipating the worst moment of your life. And I just remember one delivery specifically that had gone so smoothly. It was a beautiful delivery of this baby boy, and he came out and was so full of life. He just had this big lusty cry, and it broke me. I was in the delivery room, and I had to hide behind the curtains because I needed a minute to pull myself together, because the only thought in my mind was, will I get to hear my baby cry?
Wow.
Because with trisomy 13, stillbirth is actually pretty common. So we weren't even sure that we would get to meet Benjamin here on this earth, which became one of our primary goals, was just that we would get to meet him alive. But yeah, I can't say enough about my coworkers, about my boss, and the way that they supported me throughout my pregnancy, and the way they made exceptions for me, the way they adapted assignments so that because deliveries just became really hard for me, and so they so graciously would take assignments on that freed me up to do maybe more of like the in and out, the clinic patients who were just coming in for some routine testing and then out the door. And those were easier for me to handle. My boss was able to get me into the office side of things, doing some audits and some quality work, so that I could get my hours but not have to be at the bedside. So that was a huge blessing too, because I didn't feel like I could not work. I needed to help provide for our family. And labor and delivery was something that I've always loved. I've always been passionate about. But it just became extremely painful during that time. And it was just the anticipation too. Like we were grieving during that time, but also then anticipating his birth and his death. And it felt like that grieving process would start all over again.
Beth,
there was a little bit of dread there too.
We are almost out of time. And here's the thing. We have so much more of your story that we want to explore. We're going to have you on for another episode so we can really dig into the work that God did in your heart. But since it's about time to wrap up, one quick question. Anything you want to leave our listeners with during this hardest season of your life? Any God winks, scriptures, or songs that kept you clinging to Jesus during that time with about 1 minute left?
I tell you what, man, the things that Bethany and I hit hard, that hit us hard with, again, and people with the best well intentions being like, oh, well, so-and-so at my church came back trisomy 13 or trisomy, and it was, we prayed and turned out the test was false and stuff like that. And that's fine. That's awesome. And that's great. But Bethany and I decided we had resolve. First and foremost, we were like, you know what, God, we don't want faith that says, if I do everything right, if I say the right prayers, if I do all of this, you're going to give us what we want. Like Bethany and I were resolved from the beginning just to say, God, you are good. And whatever it is that you have for us here, whether he makes it or not, like it is good. Whether or not we understand why or whatever, it is good because you are good. That's the faith we want, and to be encouraged with, it's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. That's right, Will.
This isn't how it's supposed to be.
Well, Will, thank y'all so much for coming on, and I'm so thankful for the hope of heaven. Y'all tune in again next week for Will and Bethany's to hear the rest of their story. Thank you for listening to Hannah's Heart.